Love is Blind season 7. Oh my god. This is gonna be a good season. I'm gonna be reviewing episodes 1 through 2 because that's all I have time for right now. But then I'll do, I guess, are we up to 5? Maybe I'll do 3 to 5. I'll see. Okay, Love is Blind. Let's just get this out of the way. My feelings on the idea of Love is Blind is just that I don't believe that love is fully blind. I think love can overlook a couple things. But blind, I also don't think that like attraction has to be like there and like very intense and whatever. I feel like attraction can grow, but there has to be like a little bit of a base. You know what I mean? If you want to look at any of my other season recaps of Love is Blind, I've recapped the past, like, I think maybe 3 or so seasons. But yeah, take a look at my channel. I have some playlists made. Let's get into episode 1, and then we're going to do episode 2. So all of my thoughts are going to be in chronological order because I'm looking at my notes that I took in chronological order. I'm going to try not to spoil anything ahead, but I'm just going to try. Okay, it's going to be a strong attempt. Okay, so we have the whole, like, typical, like, Nick and Vanessa, which is, like, why are they even here, Nick and Vanessa? Everyone starts off being like, oh, I'm so tired of dating. I don't want any more. The theme of this, like, episode is, like, I don't want any more situationships. I'm so tired of situationships. It's like, okay. They dive straight into the pods, which I love. We're kind of not really wasting any time. So the first person that I wrote down, I don't know if we saw, is Ashley A. She's 31. I want to see her happy. Like, her energy to me is just so easily, like, she's just likable to me. I don't know. And then we have Tyler. We don't know much about him yet, but he seems sweet from the beginning. They seem like they're starting off on, like, a good couple that you think is gonna go far, but we'll see. So then we have Nick D. Nick D is a smooth talker, football player in high school and a little bit professionally. And anytime, like, somebody's, like, played football and they have a faded haircut and they're white especially, I have my eyes on you, and America does too. There's something about it where it's like, you know, I don't know, you know, it just is like, you just seem like a little, like, that just seems a little dangerous, you know what I mean? There's something about that has probably been used and abused in some way, you know what I mean? Okay, maybe that's unfair, but everybody was saying it, okay? Not to get ahead of myself. Then we have Brittany, who is the total, like, trophy wife trope. She's, like, attractive. She has, like, a bubbly personality. She is, like, the typical all-American girl. If she had a Southern accent, she'd be a Southern belle. Seems to want to be a trad wife. Like, is, like, gold for this show in the way that, like, I don't feel like we see a lot of, like, people like her on the show in the way that she's, like, a normal girl who's just, like, really attractive, who, you know, was, like, very popular and whatever in high school. That's, like, kind of superficial and shallow, but, like, convinces herself that she's a little bit, you know, a little not, I don't know. I feel like the show does not get, like, normal, attractive people that are like this. They get, like, attractive people that, like, are a little bit shallow and mean girly, but the typical, like, bubbly, like, nice girl, like, I'm a little shocked, but I'm happy to see her. I am happy to see her. Okay, so then we, like, I want Brittany to be, I was gonna go on to another point, but I want Brittany to be, like, in a couple so I can see her further. Then we have Taylor. Taylor, beautiful energy. We also have not, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Just flame me or something. I don't feel like for a long time we've had a strong, not a strong, just in general, we haven't had, like, an Asian woman lead. Like, the type of, like, I feel like has it been since Natalie? Or am I, like, being stupid? Let me know. Because I feel like it's just been a while to where I just haven't seen, I don't know, it's just been, it's like it's been lacking a little bit, but I'm happy about this. Like, so I'm excited to see. So she made a connection with Garrett, the physicist, and they nerd out about some things, and, like, you know it's gonna be a match or a potential match when they're like, I have a tattoo of like, when they're connecting about very hyper specific things. I feel like the show is, like, very much being like, yeah, okay, this is it. Garrett, though, I wasn't like 100% sold on him. I don't know what it is about him. He, like, there's nothing wrong. There's no, like, red flag about him. I just am not sold on him. You know what I mean? I feel like he's not the type of guy that girls are like, oh, he's like, he's like a guy. So the more the seasons go on, it's really hard not to look at this show and to like I label people as certain archetypes. Like I've always said, whenever an African man steps foot in the show, that man is going to be in something. Is going to be there's something that's gonna happen. Whenever like an attractive blonde girl like is in a love triangle, there's gonna be some crazy stupid thing that happens at like a pool party and everyone's gonna be like, oh my god, she's and then somebody else is gonna be insecure. When it's like whenever you see patterns of things, it's hard not to put those patterns together. But I want to go into this season like a little bit more open-minded. I do, because I kind of feel like it's really unfair that we're judging these people off like the archetypes of what has happened on the previous shows. But it's gonna be hard. Like it's genuinely gonna be hard. Okay. So then we see Alex. Oh, both of her parents have MS. Her and Tim are talking and she's just being open about, like probably like relationship type things. She's talking about how they have to be like her mom is a caregiver for her dad, which is interesting because they both have MS. So I guess maybe her dad just has a little bit more intensely. I used to be a caregiver. I used to care for somebody who had MS. That is like seeing somebody who is sick. This is what's so important to talk about on Love is Blind. Your love is truly, I feel like not really tested until one of you goes through something that's like as intense, as delicate as you having a sickness. Like truly sickness really tests certain people's love and commitment to each other. And like just as a caregiver, I just wanted like I as a past caregiver, it's so important to share things like that. So Tim and Alex, I feel like have the potential to be power couples because I feel like those type of conversations are really telling as to the type of conversations you're probably going to have in real life. Being like, my mom was super sick. My dad is also sick. Let's see what, like, let's see how he responds to that, Because I feel like it's the type of fake person that would be like, oh my God, you deserve blah, blah, blah. You deserve, but it's like, okay, I know what I deserve, but like, can we just talk about the realism of life for a minute? Okay. Why did I get like annoyed? Anyway, so then we see that Tyler is open to sharing passwords, which is like, that's such a dumb thing for me to write down. Like, I kind of hate that I just wrote that up, but it's a kind of a green flag when people are like open to me like, I don't have anything to hide. Like, if you want to look at my things, look at my things. But then I also kind of feel like people be using that as like, it's like, oh, I have nothing to hide. You can always look at my phone. But it's like, that's a way to be extra sneaky. But I don't know. I trust Tyler. I think he's trustworthy. Then we got Leo. Oh, shit. Leo? Okay, so I was waiting for us to get like a super annoying person. Then comes in Leo. We see that Leo is somebody who has admitted to inheriting wealth. Brave of you to admit that you just inherited wealth on Netflix television where the criminals are watching. That's very interesting. Like, I understand you're trying to get to know somebody and you probably just want to be transparent with them before it's all of a sudden like, I didn't know that about, But it's also kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like the way that wealthy people be talking about wealth, it's so annoying. It's so annoying because like, it's never in a way, not never, okay? It's rarely in a way where it like actually feels like it's something that's you can connect over because it's not relatable, right? It's not relatable. The way that he does it is super weird. It kind of feels like he'd just be throwing it out there just to like look at people to see like how impressed they are. Not in a way to be like honest and real about it. It feels odd because it's like you can't flaunt your wealth. In this situation, you can't really flaunt your wealth, but you almost are kind of opening the gates to look at other people's like reactions. It's not, because he, at one point he was trying to open up about with the other guys and like even with some of the girls and being like, I really appreciate my situation. I would rather be in my situation than with somebody than be in a situation where I like lack money. Yeah, no, duh, he's like, I'm super rich. I'm super rich. Yeah. It's like, how are regular people who can't relate to that supposed to react? How are we supposed to talk to you in any way? Like, the way that people with money be talking about money, they always try to like make it seem like it's normal, but it never really hits. I don't like when people with money be talking about money, because it's like, I'd rather hear about money from people who have been poor to having wealth than like people just be having wealth, because they just like are weird about it. Am I wrong here? Somebody correct me. And then um Leo not admits, but opens up about the fact that all of his family died of cancer. A lot of his family members have died of cancer, which is so sad. And oh my God, that's horrible. But I feel like he kind of glazes over it. It's like kind of, and this might just be because I have a bias towards people who have money and wealth, but the way that I don't feel like he really expands on it. Um, it just feels like a little like, oh yeah, my mom and my stepdad and my dad and my grandpa, I don't know which members he had that had cancer, but I feel like he did put an emphasis on how he wanted to make an emotional connection with somebody, and he didn't want to talk about work, about his role as like an art dealer, and he wants to like have a connection with, who is it, Hannah. But then I feel like there's so much emotion to be talked about with all of his family members dying of cancer, but he kind of talks more about his money and wealth than that, and I feel like that's just weird. Like, I don't know. Let me know how you feel in the comments, for real. Okay. So then I forgot to mention, I wrote a tiny little note that Brittany kind of comes out right and says that she would like to be taken care of, which in her opinion, which she did share with us, was just like she wants kind of like cosmetic specific, not cosmetic like surgery or anything, but she wants her hair, her nails, the things that the things that are external to be taken care of, which like can't really blame a girl for being honest, but at the same time, I don't know, like it is great that you're transparent about it, but I kind of feel like she really really liked when he said that he had wealth, because she wants to probably play the role of like the wife of the husband who has wealth, and I feel like they're going to be really well fit if she wants to be in that role and he can do that for her. You know what I mean? Hannah is a hot commodity. Oh, I don't I don't know how to feel about Hannah, because I feel like she's a hot commodity, and but the way that she kind of talks to Nick D, which she should not be, is kind of from a place of like, I don't know if you're gonna like me. I don't know if you're gonna, but it's like, what if you like, he's the one that's kind of like weirder. He's the one that like other girls are like really apprehensive about. Like, what about him chasing you? What about him, And he said that himself. I will give him that credit. Nick D. Have I talked about him? He just is a little, I think I did, because he had the whole fade and everything, and he played high school football and then professionally. Hannah, like, stand up. Stand up, Hannah, for real. Oh my God. Especially, like, you cannot be that hot of a commodity and be like, I don't know if you're gonna like, girl, a lot of people like you. A lot of people like you. But I understand the insecurity, because I think she is the like one of the thicker girls and one of the younger girls, so that is two factors that do stand out a little bit. And I feel like, honestly, the sucky thing about having a beauty standard is that, like, when you do not fit the beauty standard, like if you're not like universally attractive, and this is just like the world's beauty standard, this is not mine, is I feel like you do make up for it in personality and jokes and whatever the heck. So I feel like thicker people like really thrive on this, because like they be having the jokes, they be having the personalities in the conversation, but then they're like a little bit scared about the reaction to their external, because a lot of people have really just been like, and I'm like, am I projecting? I'm kind of like assuming, but honestly that really does suck, because it's like, this girl is like so well liked, is doing so well, but she like knows like there's a certain beauty standard, and like the closer you are to the beauty standard, Love is Blind, probably the better things are gonna go for. My God, probably the closer you are to the beauty standard, the better things are going to go for you when you do the reveal, you know? That's why all these attractive people be doing Love is Blind. It's like, yeah, this does not test anything. Of course Love isn't blind. Of course Brittany is going to, like, make a match with somebody and people are going to like her because she looks like that. It's like, this is not made for you, but at the same time, it is. Okay, so I said, we have Taylor and Garrett who open up about the conversations of ethnicity. Because Taylor is an ethnic woman. And Garrett is really caught up on that. So Taylor just opens up. She's like, what about or something about ethnicity? And Garrett's like, oh, did you say ethnic? Because I'm pretty sure at this point, he, like, assumed that she was white. I'm pretty sure. And Garrett gets, like, honestly, like, very caught up. And he was, like, completely fine until the word ethnic got brought up. And he's like... That really stood out to me because it wasn't just like oh, I didn't know that, let's move on. It was like you're really tripping me up because, like, you're not. But then he also brought up, like, other concerns of, like, you're very calculated in the way that you speak, which is, like, that was a concern before, but until she brought up that she was ethnic, that was very interesting. Okay, moving on. The girls and guys all are talking in groups, specifically about past dating histories and who feels most familiar. That's actually very, very interesting. Like, do you want to go with somebody who feels familiar? You probably, for the sake of the experiment, probably don't. But I mean, probably do. Because it's like, well, I know I'm probably going to like them. You know? But they always say, but you come here to break patterns. Girl, I came here to be famous on Instagram. Please. I came here to break patterns. Please, you're getting your followers up. Okay. So then when the girls talk, they talk about the red flags, and everyone is talking about how Nick is weird. When everybody be talking about how somebody is weird, just, like, be like, you know, where does that come from? Like, why does everyone think this man is weird? And it always is, he says the right things. That gets people talking. It's like, yeah, why are you saying the right things? Because I find that, like, the people who say the right things, like, are just they're just calculated. They just, like, have a lack of authenticity and probably really care about how they're perceived versus the way that things are. And that's a red flag. So, when everyone's talking, Hannah, of course, brings up the whole thing with Nick. And then we cut to, like, Nick and Leo talking because they have a thing for Hannah, which is, like, that's, like, Nick and Leo are weirdos to me. They are weirdos. Leo in the way that he just is annoying, Nick in the way that he is just calculated or whatever. That love triangle grosses me out. Okay. Then we go to episode 2. We see Monica and Steven. Steven opens up about cheating, which is, like, commendable. It can be commendable, I find, but sometimes I feel like, is it commendable or do you need to proceed with caution because it could be used as, like, something later, you know? Sometimes I feel like it's commendable and respectable when people, like, are like, I have cheated. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not going to, like, let it haunt me or whatever. But sometimes I feel like people be using it and, like, kind of use something that, like, is viewed as vulnerable to be something that's, like, you know, like, oh, I already opened up to you about the cheating, so, like, why would you hold that against me type of a thing. You know what I mean? Steven, to me, I just don't know how to feel about him. I like his energy. I like him and Monica's energy. But the whole cheating thing was kind of like, is this the start of the end? You know, it's like, that's what freaks me out. Okay. We get a lot of things from Steven and Monica this episode. We do. We got a lot of real things. So then we go back and forth between Hannah and Nick D. Hannah, just trust your gut about this. The man is a little weird. And she's, like, expecting his disappointment over, like, her feelings. Which is, like, understandable. But also, like, not him. Everyone is telling you, like, not him. Okay, so Taylor and Garrett, I like their dynamic. I do. It's a little intense, and I feel like they're more, like, stoic people, but they seem to work. Like, I feel like in the real world, I could see them lasting a while. But I felt the way about that one couple in Love is Blind UK. That one stable couple that everybody thought was gonna really work out. could be them. So then we're introduced to Bowden, who was born in Ukraine, and then raised by a Filipino father figure, which is like, okay. Yeah, the way that he was like, everybody just expects that I'm like a white bread kid. What? It was like, I never heard that before, but you instantly get what he's trying to say. His backstory was very moving. I don't think that I've met or seen this type of story of somebody who was Ukrainian, especially talking about how he now in the States had to go back to support through the war, which is, you just do not hear real stories about that. You see it on the news, you intake certain things about it, but to have somebody be open and honest about the things that they're going through, I think is so incredibly necessary, and really takes kind of like the silliness and like the soapiness out of Love is Blind, and like really puts into perspective, this is a real person with trauma and an actual story that he's telling you that like makes it like, oh, like this isn't just like a TV character, this isn't just like an archetype, this is a real life person. But yeah, we don't really know much about Marissa in this dynamic, but I do like that Bowden was very honest, because it just really shifts your perspective, when people open up about things like that. So then we see that Ramses, it also opens up with, oh shoot, I got somebody mixed up here, because I said Ramses opens up with Marissa. No, I think it was correct. Said Marissa brings up how she dated a Trump supporter and then a liberal guy. And I feel like that never happens on Love is Blind. I don't feel like they ever talk about politics. Like, the one person that you're like, oh, that person was a political person, was JD. And the only reason we knew he was political was because he wore an American flag in, like, every scene he could. But they never mentioned, like, anything up. We've never even heard Trump's name, I don't think. We've never, like, it's really jarring and kind of crazy, but it's also very like, this is like our climate, like this is really what's happening. But I feel like Love is Blind has been very careful before, and now it's just kind of like, let's just include it, let's not bleep it out or anything. She dated a Trump supporter. It's right there. But I do love that Ramses said that that masculinity is whatever he wants to make it. We need more men like that. We really do, because the idea of like, oh, are you feminine? Are you going to lean into your feminine? Are you going to lean into your masculine? I'm leaning into whatever the heck energy I give. And I feel like the whole feminine and masculine thing has like really been a topic of like contention. Sometimes can be a topic of contention, because I feel like some people like use the idea of like feminine to like really put people in like stereotypical roles, into like, it feels like something that we backtrack into, as opposed to like something that could be defined by individuals. But yeah, I like when people define broad terms as just like being more individual. So Garrett sends Taylor flowers and asks her to be his girlfriend. That was really sweet. Like, I don't feel like people who do grand gestures like that, when they come from a guy like Garrett, are really on the show to be like stupid. Or they could be doing it to like put on a show. That to me just felt like real. Like, she asked him to do something and he did it, and that was like cool, Dang, it was sweet. It was just a sweet gesture, and I believed it. I did. So then I said, is Alex new? Because I don't remember her, but I did talk about Alex a while ago. But then Tim opens up about losing both of his sisters. That was truly a crazy conversation. It like, I just so appreciate the show for openly digging into people's grief very respectfully. You know what I mean? Like, letting them tell their stories without like any interference, and letting them show like the real conversations. It was actually really sad also. Like, there were moments where I just like, this is tough. Okay, I can't talk about it too much. Just the idea of like being so familiar with death, as he said. I don't even know. So Steven and Monica, this was also what shocked me after hearing the whole, like, the first political conversation, then the second one. Steve and Monica asks, did you vote in the last presidential election? Steven opens up about being a centrist, about first voting Trump, and then Biden, which is, like, I personally, like, could never relate to that idea of, like, going from one to the other, but I think that it's actually a very relatable, real thing that a lot of Americans have done. But it's just really jarring to see that on a Love is Blind episode, you know what I mean? But I do appreciate the transparency because this is our real life. Like, this is what's happening in 2024. Like, we should be seeing these conversations on TV, but it's also hard because we're so divided and so, like, everything is so contentious and tense that it's like, are you sure you want to do that, Netflix? That's a scary, you know how people feel whenever, like, they see these conversations, you know? But I appreciate it. I do. I really appreciate it. So, okay. Then we finally get back to Ashley A. Ashley A and Tyler, thank you. They have the Cam and Lauren and Zach and Bliss energy. I hope they go far. I hope they go far. And then we end the episode off on, what the heck is her name? Taylor and Garrett. And they're about to do a reveal. And I'll be talking about the reveal in the next episode. I have to get to work. I wish I could talk about this further, but I simply can't. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, please leave me a comment or a like or something if I made you smile. If you just, like, sat through this whole thing, thanks. But also, YouTube really likes it when people leave, like, any sort of response. So, like, please just help me out. Like, my channel is struggling. Anyway, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is, I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. I'll be posting episodes 3 through 5 soon. And I hope to see you there.